It is good news for us consumers, for us collectors. We get to enjoy figures at lower prices. But for the Japanese companies, I wonder who will survive in the next 5 years or so. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven from X Kurogane Studio. Today with some anime figure analysis of some kind and opinion, where I am observing a new trend in anime figures. And if this new trend goes on, some Japanese companies may not survive for the next 5 years, especially companies that make literally anime figures or figures of anime characters, which means game characters do not count, be it Nier Automata or Azur or Blue Archive. Those do not count. I mean anime characters, right? You may be thinking, this is another video about low budget anime figures. That is only half correct, because low budget figures from China has been around for at least 2 years by now. That is old news, and that is only part of the story. But there is something new happening to these low budget figures from China, something that just began earlier this year. So every week, I do figure news fix where we go through every new skill figure on pre-orders. So I have seen a lot of things. And this past week, like 2 days ago when I released my latest episode of Figure News Fix, there were 2 anime figures which I think were overshadowed by many other big announcements by Neon Max, for example, 1x4 Azur figures, Alpha Max as well, and the Genshin Shenhe figure. But in my opinion, these 2 figures are pretty significant, and I will explain why right now. The first one here is Hokkaido Gails are super adorable. Minami Fuyuki Pajama version 1x6 scale by Hanabi, just under 10,000 yen, releasing in March next year. Okay, so low budget scale figure from a Chinese brand, nothing new, right? But what is new is that this specific character is from an anime adaptation or a manga, which can be interpreted as seasonal anime. The anime aired for like 3 months, a few months ago I think, a fairly new anime. And then you get one of those very pretty seasonal waifus, maybe with a bit of fan service, and then after the anime finishes airing, 3 months later, everyone forgets about their seasonal waifu. And because of this very fact, a lot of Japanese figure companies, they no longer want to touch anime figures literally, like they don't touch characters of seasonal anime characters anymore, maybe except the lower budget stuff like Pop-Up Parade or Furyo Tenitol, right? And even so, if you look at Pop-Up Parades, even though the selection is pretty big, actually anime characters are not that many, because we still get Pop-Up Parade Blue Archive or Pop-Up Parade Hololive and so on, FGO as well. So it is not like 90% of the Pop-Up Parade figures are anime characters. It is more like less than half of that, because the Japanese brands still do not want to touch anime characters. Instead, we have a Chinese brand coming out from nowhere and choosing to make a figure of a seasonal anime character into a low-cost scale figure at 1x6 at under 10,000 yen. I don't think this is very common. This is a new trend that just began earlier this year. This is Hanabi's profile in MFC. MFC actually has a database for every figure company, and this is a list of the figures they have made so far. From the looks of it, they make a mix of both expensive scale figures that cost over 20,000 yen and also low budget scale figures, which are normally original art characters, right? But yes, Minami Fuyuki, the one that went on pre-order a few days ago, is their very first seasonal or anime character to be made into a scale figure. And this is not the only one. The next one over here also went on pre-order a couple of days ago, like A Dimension, Chinese brand as well, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Tohru, which is a 1x4 but costing less than 18,000 yen. So far, all of the 1x4 scale low budget figures that we have seen, I have reviewed quite a few from Bear Panda, for example, right? And one from Figmon. If there is one similarity between every single one of them, it is that all of them are pretty much original art characters, right? So the licensing fee is probably a lot cheaper compared to licensing an anime character from Kadokawa, from Aniplex, or from KyoAni in this case for the matter. I think we are being misled by freeing all these years that licensed anime figures has to cost 40,000 yen, whatever the reasons may be, though I'm sure licensing is part of the puzzle over here. Somehow, a Chinese brand is able to give us a 1x4 scale, seasonal anime character in a way. 2 seasons so far, right? Somehow, a Chinese brand is able to give us a 1x4 scale anime character that they had to pay licensing fees to an actual Japanese company and still price it under 20,000 yen at 1x4. Are we wrong? All this while that licensing fees play a big role in the price of an anime figure. All the while, I've always assumed licensing fees are a big part of the pricing part, right? Because if we look at Nendoroids or Figmas or Revoltech for the matter, of Marvel DC characters, they cost way more than Figmas or Revoltechs of a typical anime character. More expensive by 2,000 or 3,000 yen because, American IPs are more expensive. So going by that example alone, I was pretty convinced that licensing cost is part of the problem. But the more I think about it, the way companies plan a product to be sold to the masses, right? They aim for a very specific price point. We're going to make something today. We're going to make a smartphone today that costs $200. We're going to make a smartphone today, a flagship that costs $800. Like, the moment they start planning for a new product, be it a new phone or a new figure, they have a target price in mind, right? So after they have this target price being decided, then they will factor in stuff like licensing cost, or maybe they have already factored in that as well. So based on that target price point, they will decide how complex or how sophisticated that product is, right? And then they adjust accordingly. That is how most companies do it. So if a company decides to make a 1x4 scale that costs 20,000 yen, they can make it happen. It is not like if the figure is 30,000 yen and the licensing fee is maybe 8,000 yen, and then you make a second figure that is costing 16,000 yen, but the licensing fee is also 8,000 yen. It does not make any sense. I think the licensing fee is dependent on the pricing of a product, and then they take a very specific percentage of it. It is not a fixed amount, right? So Freeing could have just went and make a 20,000 yen 1x4 scale, and they would be fine because they are made in China in the first place. They are not made in Japan. This figure over here, this Toru, made me realize that maybe licensing fee is not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is corporate greed. The two examples I just gave, this is from the past 1 week alone. We have more examples over here. For example, this Megumin figure 1x7 scale, it is made by A Dimension, the same company as that Tofu earlier. This Megumin right here is 1x7 scale, 22 centimeters tall, 10,000 yen, releasing next year in May. So she went on pre-order earlier this year, releasing next year. New trends, as you can see, low budget scale figures of anime characters. And what other examples do I have over here? Okay, this is the only known Animaster and Kadokawa scale figure, which is of an anime character that came out last year. Late 2024, we have this Albedo costing over 20,000 yen. So this does not count. This is not low budget scale figure, but Animaster was involved together with Kadokawa. What about the ones releasing this year? We have this V0 RAM. Kadokawa is the manufacturer and Animaster is the producer. Interestingly, just over 6,000 yen coming out this July. 1x7 scale, 6,000 yen. Yeah, Kadokawa is apparently the manufacturer, but Animaster was also involved. What else? Coming out this year as well, this RAM. July release, 6,000 yen, same thing, right? Low budget scale figure of licensed anime characters from a Chinese brand. The next one here, okay, this is not exactly purely an anime character. We had an anime adaptation of Cyberpunk Edge Runners, but it was a game, right? So Animaster has this Lucy coming out this July, which is sort of an anime character in a way. 7,000 yen, 1x7 scale. Okay, so we don't have many yet. These are the only few I could find at the moment. Maybe there are more out there. Next, we move on to another section over here regarding MTOS and Apex Toys. Okay, so this is also significant even though it may have nothing to do with anime characters now. The anime character section is over. There's one more new trend over here where some figure companies are cutting down on expensive scale figures because nobody could afford them anymore. Instead, they have downgraded into low budget scale figures. They are concentrating on making lower budget figures, and the brand I'm referring to is MTOS. So this is something I have also noticed very recently. I'm going to bring up MTOS right here. Okay, here we go. So the pictures, the thumbnails are seen on screen. This is a list of scale figures, the expensive ones, 1/7 scale by MTOS that were released in year 2023. So there is a total of 22 of them, year 23. We move on to year 2024, last year. The total number of expensive scale figures, once again, does not include the gift plus low budget figures. 17 of them last year. There was a decrease from 22 figures to 17 figures last year for high-end scale figures by MTOS. Year 2025, down to 8 figures. The numbers are reducing. The numbers are dropping. Most of these are also like Arc Knights, Azalane, things that are guaranteed to sell. What about the ones coming out next year for MTOS premium scale figures? How many of them? Try guessing. I'll give you 3 seconds. Time's up. The answer is only one. This Texas Throne version from MTOS coming out in February 2026, 27,000 yen. Or 1,000 Chinese yuan in China, way cheaper in China. Only one. So we are now in mid-July. In a period of over 7 months or longer than that if we include last year, MTOS has only one new pricey scale figure, premium scale figure that is coming out in 2026, which is insane. They are like slowly giving up on making premium scale figures, maybe because very few people would buy them. Who can afford this in today's economy, right? Where everything is so expensive, from food to rent, those things are more important. And here we take a look at MTOS gift plus low budget scale figures. 1/8 scale, they are often around 6,000 to 7,000 yen only. But 1/8 scale, which is cheaper than Good Smile Pop Operates or Furio Tenitals. So I won't open every single one of these figures over here into a new tab, too many of them, but look what is about to happen over here, right? So the first one here, Honkai Star Rail Tingyun Gift Plus, released in November 2024, 5,000 yen. This one is a 1/10 scale, it is small. So next one here, Kafka, which just came out in China, coming out internationally in July. 6,600 yen, 1/8 scale, July 2025 release. The next one here, Azalane Unzen, 1/8 scale, 6,000 yen, May release, just 2 months ago, this year as well. Next one here, Arc Knights Angelina, May 2024, last year. Next one here, Honkai Impacted Alicia, just came out this month. Low budget figure this month. And then, okay, Arc Knights was last year, 1/10 scale. What do we have this year? Okay, March 7th from Honkai Star Rail, releasing this September. And then here we have, released this May earlier, Qing Che from Honkai Star Rail. Keqing from Genshin Impact, 1/8 scale, releasing in February 2026, 6,600 yen. What else do we have over here? Azalane, 1/8 scale, New Jersey, 6,000 yen, releasing this July, this month. Castories is on the way. Pre-order opened already in OSGK, but Japanese websites maybe this coming week. Releasing February next year, 6,600 yen. What else do we have? Helena from Azalane, 6,000 yen, February next year. This one would be Enterprise Azalane, 6,000 yen, January next year. Okay, I'll stop right here. Have you noticed something? MTOS has cut down so much on premium scale figures. Instead, there are so many low-budget scale figures from them that were being released this year and also coming up next year. There is no coincidence. They are really dropping all these expensive scale figures, presumably because people can't afford them anymore. They're not selling enough, right? And because MTOS seems to be doing really well with Gift Plus, and then also we had, Furio Tenitol and Good Smile Pop Operate. Kadokawa has some low-budget figures as well. And then, Apex Toys wanted in on the low-budget market as well because people actually buy them. So they have this new series of figures called Lime Pie, 1/8 scale. They're equivalent of MTOS Gift Plus or Pop Operate. And almost everything over here, they were just coming out starting from this year. this year and next year. This line pie thing did not exist last year, right? Yeah, Genshin, Zenless Zone Zero, Azalane, so many brands, including the big China brands that make expensive scale figures, are slowly shifting towards the low budget figures. If MTOS or Apex starts touching seasonal anime characters, then the Japanese brands are really screwed, which I think is unlikely because, Azalane, Arknights, they print more money. But Animaster, A Dimension, and Hanabi has begun going for seasonal anime characters, and it is just a matter of time before more brands from China will jump in and go for low budget scale figures of anime characters. Yeah, it is good news for us consumers, for us collectors. We get to enjoy figures at lower prices. But for the Japanese companies, I wonder who will survive in the next 5 years or so. So I hope that you found this analysis to be interesting maybe, and if you have anything to say, please do drop it down in the comments below. I hope that you found this video to be enlightening at least, and if it is, please do give this video a like, subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content. I will drop another figure review starting later this week. Yeah, one more video coming this week before Figure News Fix on Sunday. So I will start reviewing the Blue Archive Asuma Toki, the Max Factory volume from Nikkei, and so on, the one in my recent figure haul video last week. So until then, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.